What are cryptocurrencies? Why is cryptocurrency mining a problem? And what should the German government do about it? Marlon Ebert will provide us with the answers. Marlon, let's jump right into the issue. What is the problem with cryptocurrency mining?
Well, there are two main issues with cryptocurrency mining. And the one is the environmental impact. There is loads of power used to do the mining, and this power has to come from somewhere. So obviously there is an environmental cost associated with the power production for that. And the second one is the supply chain impact. We are just recovering from the COVID crisis, and we are within a US-China trade conflict, which has put a serious strain on our semiconductor supply. And we have in several areas noticed that we are experiencing a semiconductor shortage. And the processing power, the computer chips used to do this mining, they are highly specialized, leading edge equipment that use capacities that could otherwise be used to produce chips that, well, we could record those nice conversations on, and we could use to work from home within the pandemic, and that are less available since production capacities are strained by multiple reasons, one of which is the mining.
Okay, so energy consumption, supply shortages, got it. Now, before we come to your recommendations to the German government, what actually are the fundamentals? So I'm not a cryptocurrency expert. Can you explain to me what is a cryptocurrency?
Yeah, a cryptocurrency is essentially, it's a bit of information. It's a digital asset, so you don't have it like a coin in your hand, but it's a piece of information that's stored somewhere digitally, and you want to do something with that. So you want to be able to, for example, do transactions with it. And for that, you have a cryptographic mechanism. You can think of it like a digital signature, and that's used to make transactions possible between people holding this virtual asset. And maybe it's best to look at it with an example. Let's take Bitcoin, for example. Bitcoin, there are many ways to do these crypto assets, but the way Bitcoin does it is with a public blockchain. The idea is you have all those transactions and you gather them in a block, and this block, you just write it down in some digital format, and then you make a chain out of all these blocks, and you have one giant string of data, and at the very end of it, you add this block with your transactions, and then you do crypto magic. You use this digital signature, this cryptographic way of ensuring that the block that was added at the end really follows the rules that it needs to follow, that it's proper. And once people figured out that it's okay, then the next block can be added and more transactions can happen, and you can trade this virtual asset securely and safely.
So let's come now to your recommendations to the German government. Why should the future German government care about crypto mining? Why is it a policy issue?
Well, the great thing about mining is it did serve an important function, but it also uses lots of energy, as I said earlier, and it has a supply chain impact. So you have positives and negatives. And the great thing is that in the last 10 years, since Bitcoin was invented, we have made lots of progress in this area. And there are new technologies that solve these issues while still being fully proper cryptocurrencies. There is an opportunity. We can move away from mining. And that's also a very important distinction with cryptocurrencies. Often mining and cryptos are just lumped together and seen as the same thing. And it's very important to note that mining is not necessary for cryptos in general. It was one way that Bitcoin did it. But other cryptocurrencies like Ether, for example, which is the second biggest one currently in market capitalization, they are in the process of transitioning away from mining towards a proof-of-stake model. And another major cryptocurrency, Cardano, is already operating on a proof-of-stake model. Proof-of-stake is another way of securing those validations without having to do this giant mining and without the associated waste of resources. So there is a transition happening for some cryptocurrencies, but not, for example, for Bitcoin. And we have this opportunity to foster this transition, to be at the forefront of innovation, because let's face it, we do kind of lag behind the other global powers like the US or China in many areas of technology. And in this one, we do not yet. And we have the chance to be at the forefront of innovation, to not lag behind for once, and to foster this new technology and help with this transition. And at the same time, we can solve two major problems we have, which is environmental impact, which I think I don't have to explain why this will most probably be very relevant for the next German government, whoever it may be. and the supply chain impact of computer chips as well, because as we see coming from the pandemic, this will be a topic that's very, very important for the next 4 years.
And yeah, you wrote a paper about it, including several recommendations, but we don't want to spoiler all of them. Maybe you can focus on one of the recommendations you give in the paper, and the rest our viewers will just check out in your paper.
I can say the basic idea, because there are lots of things you can do in this area. It's a highly complex issue. It's at the forefront of technological development and on the forefront of finance. And lots of different governments are trying to figure it out at the same time. And it's important to go in with this mindset of we can't have German Angst. We can't be afraid of things. If we want to innovate, then we have to not close down, but we have to foster this innovation. But at the same time, we don't have to accept negative things that come with it. We can use this fostering of innovation to nudge the market in beneficial directions, nudging them away from mining and away towards alternatives like the proof of stake model. And because the questions around this, they are highly complex, it's very important to have a dedicated, specialized expertise. And whether we will get a digital ministry or a department in the chancellery or whatever will happen after the election, there needs to be a way to deal with digital issues of this complexity. And there's loads of expertise, especially in the civil society, but also in the finance community that deal with cryptos, with emerging crypto regulations. And since we have this amazing strong position here right now, and for example, Switzerland is also very well versed there, it's very important to have a concerted European approach and to build the expertise, link up with the experts and stakeholders from civil society and finance in order to be able to build this concerted European approach that's beneficial for the whole ecosystem while solving those environmental and supply chain issues.
Thanks, Marlon. I've learned a lot today about cryptocurrency, mining, and what the German government should do about it. This was one of your recommendations. The other two can be found in your paper, to which we will link in the description below. To everyone else, thank you for watching, and feel free to subscribe to our channel for more insights on Germany's foreign policy.